So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. That might look a bit different. Thank you for joining us today for the Fanshawe Cares Day 1 of our series. Today, we're just going to be talking about arriving to Canada and making London your home. If you have questions, please feel free to post them in the chat, or if you want to use the raise your hand feature, that would be great as well. And I will get to the questions as they come in. Please do keep in mind, it's only me today. So I will have to do both answer questions and present. So if we can try to keep ourselves muted during the presentation, it's just going to allow for a bit more of a smooth process. And then if you do have questions, as I said, you can place them in the chat or use the raise your hand feature. The recording is going to be shared on our YouTube page. So if we can try to keep the chat free of really personal info, like your email address and stuff like that. And at the end of this, I can add a copy of today's presentation into our chat. And then, yeah, as I said, feel free to use the raise your hand feature, or if you'd like, you can put the question in the chat, and I will do my best to monitor that as we go. So my name is Crystal Boyd, and I work with the International Office on Student Transitions and Engagement. So for those of you that have already started planning your arrival, and you may have requested a shuttle on your ISF. So I'm part of the team that's going to look after those forms and look after booking any transportation and stuff. And then we also look at some pre-departing sessions like these, the 10-day series. I just hosted a 2-day family session, and that'll be posted on our YouTube page soon too as well. So lots of ways to just hopefully keep you aware of the supports and services that you have, especially because I know it can be quite daunting to come to a new country. So we're just going to cover a few items today. So things that we're going to cover today is the campuses, so where they are located and what services are there as well. We're going to go over a bit of the map of London and some points of interest. Dressing for the weather and shopping in Canada can be a little bit tricky. We have seasons that constantly shift and change. Banking, mobile phones, housing info, and a new student to-do list. And then, of course, we'll have time for questions if there is any, which I'm hoping you'll have lots of questions. So welcome to Fanshawe. So this here is an aerial view of the Oxford Street campus. So this is our largest campus, and this is a campus that probably most of you will be attending. So this campus has a ton of buildings, a ton of space here, a lot of services that are offered at the Oxford campus are also going to be offered at area campuses, like the downtown site, the airport, south, and then as well as the more remote sort of small community ones too. So anything you're seeing here today, you should be able to access most of those supports at all of our campuses. So this here is just a general map of the Oxford campus. And as you can see here, it's quite elaborate. And here where the little arrow is showing you where you would be coming to see us in the international office up on the second floor of E building, E2025. As a full-time Fanshawe student, an LTC bus pass is part of your tuition, and you would be accessing the bus routes at the front of the building here or at the side, sort of back in here. Can everybody see that on my screen? If someone could turn on their camera and give me a thumbs up. Just want to make sure that you're able to follow along. Perfect. I see some thumbs up. Thank you, everybody. Yes, so that's where the buses would come in. And then anything you need sort of about support and services, you can always stop by and visit us in the international office, and then we can hook you up with the right supports. So this is just a brief shot of some of our other areas. So this is the downtown campus. So it's kind of spread out over 2 buildings. They're right across the street from each other. And our downtown campus is where a lot of our food programs and stuff are. And then our South campus is where a lot of business programs are. And our South campus here is up on Wellington, and they almost the whole campus is almost exclusively international students. And it's a great campus. There's a lot of activities and stuff that are done out of that campus as well as downtown. And as I said, if you wanted to meet with someone from career services or any other area, most areas do have staff at those campuses. So it might just be on every Tuesday or every Thursday, but there is some options. And this sort of takes a look at some of our more our campuses more outside of London. So St. Thomas, Simcoe, and Woodstock. Now, please keep in mind that if you're registered to attend any of those locations, there is not quick and easy transportation between those sites and London. So if you are registered at the St. Thomas campus, you would want to find housing in the St. Thomas area. And same with if you're Simcoe or Woodstock, you would want to do the same so that you're not struggling with a way to get there. Quite often it happens that we have students arrive and they haven't realized that there is quite a distance between Woodstock and London, and they don't really have a way to get between where they've chosen to live in London and the Woodstock campus. So please try to get your housing in the same area as your campus if you're not attending one of the campuses within London. So these are some of the services that are offered. And over the next 10 days, we are going to have presenters from almost all of these areas talking to us about some supports and services that they can offer you. So we will have somebody here from Fanshawe Online to talk about how to do that. Oh, sorry. Hi, does somebody have a question? Oh, maybe someone just came on. Hi, can you please make sure you're muted? Anna Claire, did you have a question? Oh, sorry, I seem to be not able to hear whoever had that question. I'm going to take a look in the chats quickly. Yeah, so anybody's here from Toronto campus, so that's done a bit differently. So that's our ILAC campus. Hi, can I please ask that anybody that's not raised their hand, please remains muted? Yes, so the Toronto campus, unfortunately, that is a third-party site too. So we don't really have specific access to know what services they offer, but you can reach out to that campus to find out. However, the MoreCare health insurance is exactly the same. So for sure, you'll want to tune in tomorrow because we do have Kim here from MoreCare to talk to us about that. And then you might want to reach out to the Toronto campus to find out exactly what they have, because I know I don't believe you get like the bus pass and the same FSU type services and stuff, but they'll have their own there, but MoreCare definitely. For those asking about your classes, so as long as you've completed your ISF, and you paid all of your fees, then you should have no problem once schedules are actually released. You will be able to view it on your web advisor. So it'll actually show up there under schedule grid layout, and then you'll select your term, which will be 23F for fall. And then your schedule will appear there. Now, this may not happen until early to late August. So most times we do see that the schedules are up in early August, but you just want to give them some time because it's the divisions that will post your timetable. Okay, so do not be alarmed if you don't have that yet. It's likely not something that is going to be out yet. Okay, we are going to have someone here talk to us from career services. There's a ton of service options there too to help you with resumes, mock interviews, all sorts of really great things. And Kita, did you raise your hand? Did you have a question?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning. I'm from India, and I just wanted to ask if in this 10 days series of discussing various topics, are you going to discuss the facilities that are available for specially able students, as I am a physically challenged person? And I saw on the portal of the college that for physically challenged students also, they have facilities where students can attend classes online, and there are certain formalities that are to be completed to gain online access of the lectures and the notes and everything. So
So,
what are the
sorry, we are going to have somebody with us. Jen is going to be here from our counseling and accessibility area, and she can walk us through what that looks like. There is an early ID process, which is where you reach out to counseling prior to coming and you get the process noted and stuff. And there's all kinds of supports that they can give, both physical and note-taking and other options to help all students become successful. So we want everyone to be able to attend regardless of any sort of issues like that. So Jen will be with us one of the days over the next 10 days to talk to us about those services. So yes, for sure.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for that.
Welcome. Okay. So French classes, so we don't per se offer French classes as part of your program. It might be something you could take through a third party or through like our part-time training courses. And yes, schedules may be out in like the very end of July, but that all depends on the divisions and their process. So sometimes they are really early and sometimes they are a bit more delayed. Yep. So as I was saying, I see more questions about the schedules, and those should be out at the latest by mid-August. So if you've submitted your ISF and your fees were all paid and you received a confirmation email, there's nothing else that you need to do. There's no letter that's going to come. There's nothing else official. You would be registered. If you had questions about your registration status, you could contact us and we could look at that. But if you had paid all your fees, you had an offer, you did your ISF and everything is moved forward, then you are all set to arrive. So you should not need anything further. Yes, so after you submit your ISF, so it could take up to 14 business days before we fully process the request, because it all depends. Are you someone traveling with a family? Because then you get a specific response back. Are you someone who wants a shuttle? So there's various steps involved in that. But if you have submitted your ISF, you will receive follow-up telling you that that's been approved, or if there was some issue with it, it may be disapproved, meaning just resubmit with something that's missing, such as an arrival date or a flight number and stuff. So yes, we are trying to work as fast as we can through them, but we have been receiving a ton. So which is great because it means that everybody's getting ready to come and being proactive about their studies. But yes, we are processing them, and then it's just a matter of which stream do you fall in, and then you get the email that's based on yours. Okay, so if you sent yours in on June 27th, I would probably follow up. So for anybody that wants to follow up about that, about the status, if it's been more than 2 weeks, please send an email to fanshawec.ca, and we will be able to send an update out to you with next steps, or if anything was missing and stuff. Okay, so I have noted that there. It's fanshawec@fanshawec.ca. Okay. Okay. Sorry, the questions are coming in a lot faster than I can scroll down and answer them. So so if you had your unconditional offer letter from Fanshawe College, and so you would use that to show them that you have an LOA, and then you would use your receipt to show them that you have made the payments necessary. And then you would also want to have all of your personal documents as well to show that you are attending. And for some of you, you'll have to show that you can financially support yourself while attending school. It depends on the countries you're coming from. But yes, so follow up, Ms. Maria Fanshawe Fellows, but it may take some time. Yes, the September intake is going to be a big intake. So we are finding that there's a lot more applications coming in, and they're a little bit more tricky this time. And we're also getting a lot of applications that are for other campuses as well. So it's kind of a bit of sorting a lot of things through, but we are working on them and you will hear back. But as I said, if it's been more than 14 days, please reach out to Fanshawe Cares. And your confirmation email from us regarding your ISF is going to be sent to whatever email address you put on your ISF form. So if you put your Fanshawe online form, Fanshawe online email, that's where we're going to send the confirmation. And if you put your personal one, it's going to go to your personal one.
Sorry to interrupt you, ma'am. I have a question. Like, I'm sorry, I joined in the middle session.
That's okay.
Where are we supposed to show these documents?
Yeah, so you would show those documents to the Canadian Border Service officer that greets you when you arrive in Canada. So they are going to want to know that you are officially here for school. They want to know that you have the approval and stuff. Yeah, so that's when you would show those.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so there's no travel support letter. You're just going to use your LOA, your tuition receipt, which also shows proof of more care because every full-time student has more care coverage. Yes, your letter of acceptance and offer letter are the same thing. Yeah. And I see there's a question here. My husband is not on the same flight with me, so I answered I'm not coming with family. Yeah, so if you want us to cover your shuttle to get you to the depot here in London, then that is correct. You would say that you are traveling alone. So even if your husband's coming afterwards, that's okay. But you would obviously then be looking after his transportation. So yeah, no, it's better to have said that you're coming alone then, because you would want us to provide the shuttle. So if students are traveling with family, like children's, their husband, wife, partner, and then how it works is we would send you an email after your ISF, just saying that if you would book your own transportation, and we would potentially give you a transportation credit. Okay. June 14th. Okay. Yeah. So as I said, anybody who submitted more than 2 weeks ago and hasn't received an email, please follow up with Fanshawe Cares, because there may have been an issue with that form or how it was processed. The other thing is, if you would have selected already living in Canada, our team is not going to see that. So there's just a bunch of little things that could have affected where that form went in the processing steps. So please send us an email to fanshawcares@fanshawec.ca. So you can apply for your fan card right now. Actually, it's going to be better if you do it early. So you can do that on the website, and then you can pick that up once you arrive. Now, the bus pass, the LTC bus pass, which is part of the fan card, is not going to be available until the first day of classes. Okay. Okay, so if you submitted your form and it automatically filled in your Fanshawe online email, so if you don't have access to that email, then you are going to need to contact our IT support desk to get access to that. So you should be able to contact them just through our website, and then they should be able to reset that access. Or if you look back at your initial emails that you received, it should be in there. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so hopefully I've answered the ISF questions. No, there's no need to have a second email. What we're saying is that sometimes the email, if you put your Fanshawe online address, so that is your school designated email, which is what you're going to use to access your schedules, your fees, to actually communicate with your instructors and stuff. It's all those things. And yes, you can already apply for your fan card. We see lots of students that haven't even arrived yet will have a picture on the system, and that's because they've already gone through that process. No, so the bus pass is an automatically included portion of your fan card. So it'll just start tapping actively as of the first day of classes. Okay, so More Care. So More Care is your student health plan. So that is the company that looks after components of the health plan. So we are going to have Kim Garrett with us here tomorrow, I believe, to talk to us about more care and what's covered, sort of what the process looks like, how to access your plan details, all of that stuff. No, so you don't need to present that you have more care, because by paying your tuition and having that receipt with you, that shows that you're a full-time student and you would automatically be registered in the more care session. I mean, in the more care plan. Okay. And then you do have a 30-day emergency healthcare prior to the start of the term. So if you're arriving after the August 4th date, then you would have emergency insurance coverage as well. You just may have to pay up first and then get reimbursed. And I have a couple of questions about other campuses. And so, as I said, so someone from our counseling would be at other area campuses, someone from career services. I think Christina is out there twice a week. Our SLCs are there. We do activities there. So any of the area campuses will have a lot of different supports as well. So it's not like you don't have access to that by being at a different campus. As I said about, sorry, is it possible to update our email address from FOL to our personal one? So your FOL one will always be on there, no matter what, because that's the school given one. But you should be able to update your address and such on WebAdvisor once you've arrived. So you can take a look there to see if you could change your personal one there, but you will always have your Fanshawe one as well. Toronto campus students, so you do have the More Care Health Plan. As far as what other services, I'm uncertain because it's ILAC, so it's through like a third party, but you could reach out to them to find out. And if you're applying from your home country, you just go online. Oh, thank you, someone, for sharing the link to applying for your fan card. I'm trying to get through these as fast as I can, guys. Sorry about that. Yeah, so if you submitted your ISF and the flight number or the date was wrong, if you just send an email to Fanshawe Cares at fanshawec.ca with your name and student number, we can update any errors that way. So we can go use the email and go in and change it. So you can't opt in dependents until the first day that your plan actually becomes active, which is the first day of school. Okay, so then you would be able to opt in your dependents, and then just make sure you do it within the first 30 days. And the bus pass, so it is part of your tuition. You have paid a very reduced fee to have the bus pass included. You shouldn't need to activate your Fanshawe email. That should have just become active when you applied. If you don't know how to access that, you could follow up with your agent as well, because you would have been sent your username and password in one of the first emails from Fanshawe. So your SIN number. So I have a question about that. So if you have already received your SIN number, which some people are lucky enough to receive it when you first arrive, then you do need to make sure that's kept pretty private. Nobody should be asking for your SIN number unless they're hiring you for a job, not in the application process. If you're looking to rent somewhere, they should not be asking for a SIN number. That's a really private number, only because someone could easily steal your identity if they have the SIN number. So kind of protect that number, and you shouldn't need to give it out. If you arrive 2 weeks before the start of school, so your fan card is not going to actually start tapping on the buses and stuff that early, but you could definitely use it to show that you are a registered student. But anything like the fitness center and stuff isn't going to have the access on there yet. You can resend in your ISF form, but if it's just about making a change, you can also just send us an email to Fanshawe Cares and we can look after that. Yeah, so pretty much any service that's offered at Oxford campus would also be available at any of the other campuses. But for things like the fitness center and stuff, you would have to travel to the Oxford campus, but you would have access for that. If you're looking to register for the shuttle service, then you do need to complete the ISF and select that you would like the shuttle. I don't believe you have to have specific vaccinations to enter Canada. And if you do, that would be part of your medical exam and all that stuff prior to coming. No, you don't need to register for any schedules, nothing like that. If you didn't take the RIT exam, then what just happens is you will automatically be placed in a RIT course. And yes, if you're in a post graduate program, there is no RIT component. Yeah, so getting the shuttle from the Pearson Airport to London is just through the ISF form. And you just need to do that. And then we will contact you about that. Okay. No, so if you're in a campus outside of London, unfortunately, the bus pass wouldn't work because it's only for LTC. So if I can continue through the presentation, there's a lot of questions here, and we'll get to those maybe closer to the end, because some of it I might cover hopefully in the questions. So yes, there'll be lots of people on to discuss about different services and stuff. So here, this kind of gives you a look of London downtown. So this is the Harris Park area over here, and kind of extends into this section. This here is actually Labatt Park, and that's the oldest baseball diamond in North America. So it's pretty cool. And our London Majors still play out of there. So that is like a league before pro. They're not pro, they're semi-pro, I believe. And they have games and stuff. And we actually just sent a group of students through our Fanshawe Friends program to a majors game and stuff. So it's a great city. There's a lot that goes on. There's a lot to do. Downtown is very active, especially during the summertime. We have festivals and music shows and all kinds of things happening. So lots and lots to do. So getting started. So use a Google map. So we realize coming to a new country must be so daunting. There's going to be a ton of things that you're just not sure about. So there's ways to explore communities, both in London and other areas, to look at the neighborhoods you're considering living, working in and stuff. Making note of landmarks, so things like grocery stores, banks, shopping malls, movie theaters, some of the things that you're going to want to know where they are to access, just so that you can plan your living better. And then also researching the transportation routes, like the bus, the biking, walking trails. There's tons of options here within London. And you can even look at that through Google Maps. So make sure to use it so that you have a good idea of that. Okay. Sorry. And then this shows you what our LTC buses look like. So yes, so your bus pass is included. Here's a link to the London Transit website, which I'm going to add this presentation into the chat later. So you will have access to all this. So the LTC buses run 7 days a week. Most start by 7 a.m. And run till about midnight. So lots of options. They do kind of cover everywhere within London. And then other options would be walking, biking, car rentals, rideshare apps. And if you're looking to drive, once you're here in Canada, you will have to look at sort of what that process looks like, transferring your license, and it may involve more like driving steps, because here we have graduated licensing. So you have to kind of work up towards getting your full license. And the buses run a ton. I don't know if there was questions about that. I'm gonna try to get to the chat after. Having fun in London. So London is named the Forest City. We have a lot of major parks that do have a lot of trees, open spaces for like rec games and stuff, such as Victoria Park, Harris Park, Springbank Park. Those are all lovely parks that also host things throughout the summer. Whether it's concerts, festivals, cultural activities. So there's a lot that goes on here during the summer, which is fantastic. And then throughout the year, different kinds of festivals and stuff. Budweiser Garden. So this is our big music venue or show venue. So we have a lot of concerts and stuff. Museums, there is a fair bit of that too, especially if you're coming with children. There's a lot of things to explore, like the Children's Museum, Fanshawe Pioneer Village. So this takes a look at historical ways that people lived and kind of gives you an overview of that. And it's like set up like a little village. Lots of activities, from movies to nights out dancing to escape rooms, like dining. There is quite a bit to do here. Yeah, so and then I talked to you a little bit about Labatt Park. So established in 1877. So very, very historic. And on here, you will see the link to London Tourism as well as the FSU. And FSU will also be here to talk to us one of the days during the 10-day session. So this kind of shows you a bit about our weather. So right now we're in our summer season. So that tends to be the hottest season of the year. Although this one's been pretty rainy, surprisingly. So summer, you can expect to need like sunglasses and a hat and sunscreen and stuff. Summer is what the season we're currently in, and that's going to fade into fall. So fall can still start off pretty warm, but then it does get pretty chilly. That's when we're going to see the leaves change on the trees and stuff. We usually have more rain during the fall season leading into winter, which is going to be pretty cold. Some of you might find it a bit shocking. Lots of snow, freezing weather. So you really do have to be really covered, like with a toque, which is a form of a winter hat, jackets, gloves, winter boots and stuff. I think a lot of students kind of find that surprising when they arrive and it does get really, really cold. And then of course it fades into spring, which is a lovely time, which is usually more wet than the summer, but I'd say this year our summer's kind of doing some wonky things. So no, depending on when you're arriving for September is a pretty good term to arrive because it's not going to be too drastically cold or anything yet. You may still get like some pretty warm weather the first little bit. So where to shop? So we do have malls. Malls are kind of a big shopping center that's going to have multiple stores in it, and they're different sizes here. And then we do have some sort of cost options where it's going to be a little bit easier on the wallet, such as used stores. So these are stores that sell clothing and housewares and stuff that somebody else has donated. So that's going to be things like Tully's, Value Village, and Goodwill. And then we have some discount stores like a Walmart, Giant Tiger, and the Dollar Store. So those are all going to be some great shopping options and stuff. And again, when you're looking for housing and stuff, you might want to look at where you are in relation to those. And a lot of our students also find that they can get part-time jobs working in retail and stuff. So I'm going to take a look at the chats a little bit because I do see it's building up. And see if I can answer some of those. Oh, wow. Sorry, there's a lot of jump to first on the red. Okay. So if you've registered for the shuttle service and you don't use it, if you could let us know ahead of time, because we are charged for that shuttle. So if you could please let us know as soon as you know that you're not going to use it. Toronto campus doesn't have a shuttle service as far as I know. It's only from Pearson Airport directly to London or an area campus. Yes, so if you are arriving prior to the first day of classes and you're going to need to use the bus, you might need to buy bus tickets, which just kind of help you like you would use daily and stuff. Sorry. Q&A at the end. Yes, sorry. I'll jump back. I just wasn't sure if there was questions specific to what we were talking about. Sorry about that. Okay. So banking. So lots of different options as to where to bank. Monthly fees, make sure we're asking about the fees. Usually student accounts will have a zero fee associated with it. And you should have, usually for most, unlimited transactions. But make sure in case, because if you're doing e-transfers and stuff, you could get charged for them. You want to choose a bank that's close to where you're going to work or where you're going to live, somewhere that makes it easy. If you're going to get a credit card, you want to check to see, does your bank offer student ones? And if so, what that looks like. Keep in mind, a credit card might seem like a great idea, but that is money you're going to have to pay back. Rewards program, so that can be helpful. Depending, you could be earning like free. Sorry, did you have a question? Please, can you please try to keep yourselves muted? It's really hard to continue with the presentation when there's sudden noise. Okay. So staying in touch. So you will find that our cell phones here are quite a bit more pricey. So if you have the option to bring yours with you and use it, do that because it's really expensive here. And then your plans are going to vary. There is some smaller companies that offer a bit more affordable plans, but they will be quite a bit more than you're used to. Okay, and there's links here because I'm going to add this in the chat at the end that can help you. And then some apps of interest. So these are apps that you might want to download to your phone once you do arrive. The LTC bus app. So that's going to tell you, is your bus on time? Is it running late? Sort of what that looks like. The Stay Safe app. So that's sorry, hello. If you can please remain muted unless you're asking a question. And if that's the case, if you could please use the raise your hand feature. Stay Safe app. So that's a campus security app. So that's also where they're going to let you know if there's closure, if there's severe weather issues, any of those sorts of things. The Q-List app. So this app allows you to get into any of the lines within Fanshawe College. So if you're coming to the international office, the registrar's office, anywhere like that, there's a virtual line system. So having that app allows you to use that. And then the WhatsApp app, which we do find that most of our students that are coming from other countries, a lot of people do use WhatsApp. So that's a good option as well. It's a good way to stay in touch with those back home, but also a good way to keep in touch when you're here with hopefully all the tons of new friends you're going to make. Finding accommodations. So we know that that can be an overwhelming thing to do, and it can be quite daunting. So research and explore both areas of the cities. What kind of housing do you want? So are you looking for an apartment? Are you looking for more of like a shared house? Are you looking for a townhouse? There's a lot of different options, and we are going to have somebody here throughout the 10 days to talk to us about accommodations and sort of what that looks like, what the rules are and stuff like that. And if you did want to search, you could use the places for students to search. And you can attend the housing session, which will be coming up in the next 9 days now, because we're already into day 1. And then the link is also here to look at neighborhood profiles. So if you're looking, I just want to know what things are in the area, is it a safe area, those sorts of things, you could take a look there. And remember, you do have the complimentary bus pass. So you don't have to stay super close to Fanshawe either. So if you wanted to be in more of the south area or somewhere else, that's an option too. So some housing tips is to start your search early, which I'm sure many of you have done. Do not provide payments to a landlord without seeing the lease and the rental unit. So even if someone's showing you something through like a video, it may not be the actual unit. So you do want to wait till you have seen that. So if you can, it sort of might be in your favor to make a short-term plan for once you arrive and then look at places. First and last month's rent, and they might require like a key deposit can be required. So plan for that. You may have to pay first and last month's rent up front. Typically, leases here run for about 12 months. You might be able to find a 4 or 8 month lease, but that's going to be very few and far between. The rules here do not permit more than one occupant for the number of bedrooms. So we can't have students putting 5 or 6 students in a room. It does result in fire safety issues. And we have actually had students that are living in overcrowded housing, and they have had issues with things like fires and safety and stuff. So we do ask that you try to be aware of that when selecting your housing. If you are going to live like in a shared apartment, make sure that you're on the lease. Otherwise, you are not protected. Okay. Expanding your search. And if you're paying in cash, make sure you are getting a receipt for having paid. So now is the question time of this. I'll hop back into the chat and see if I can catch up to where I was. Okay. And we will get this. Where do you get your study permit? Yeah, so some students may get, your study permit will be issued at the airport. So when you first arrive, it'll be issued there. Make sure if you have a co-op or anything that's documented on your LOA and that you are getting that at the airport, because it's a bit harder to get it after the fact. And then for some of you, you may even be able to get your SIN when you arrive as well. So sometimes they have their desk open in the airport. Yeah, so the recorded version of this will be shared to our YouTube page. Oh, thank you, someone, for posting that. Yeah, so if you've requested a shuttle and you need to make changes to your arrival, just send us an email to fanshawecares@fanshawec.ca. Yeah, so I can put into the, if you want info about the Toronto campus, if you can send us an email to fanshawecares@fanshawec.ca, and we can send you out the Toronto campus contact there. Yeah, so if you are using the shuttle service and you want to add a home drop because you've firmed up your stay address or any of that stuff, then you can actually do that by contacting Robert Q yourself and adding it. Any extra costs will be associated with the students' fees, like with your charges, not Fanshawe Cares. Our shuttle takes you directly from the airport to the Robert Q depot. Okay, see, there's some questions about courses. So yes, so as I said, if you want to change dates on shuttles, please send an email to fanshawecares@fanshawec.ca. Yeah, to get your student card. Oh, thank you for whoever keeps putting the links into the chat. Thank you. And when you're uploading the picture, make sure it's not glossy and that they can clearly see both your driver's license and your picture that you're uploading, or passport, sorry, and the picture that you're uploading to go on your fan card. Yeah, the presentation. So I can't share the presentation until I'm done and can close it. So I can do that now and I will be able to share it, but I can't share it while it's on my screen. You see, there's a couple questions about RITs. So if you've received an email saying that you need to do the RIT test, then do the RIT test. If you fail to do the test, then you will just automatically be placed in a RIT course. If you did not receive anything about RIT, it's probably because your program doesn't have a RIT requirement. So then you don't need to worry about that. I'm just looking, sorry, I'm trying to add the presentation. Sorry, I'm just looking at adding it. Bear with me for a second here. Sorry, I'm just looking for it to add the file here. And because people are messaging as I'm doing this, it's taking away from the everyone and putting people's names there. So I'm sorry about that. Doesn't look like it's letting me access right now. Of course not. Okay, what I can do is I can add it tomorrow at the start. So if you all come back tomorrow, I can add it first thing. Sorry about that. It's just not letting me access the files right now. So there is no enrollment letter. So you just need your LOA, your tuition receipt, and then your documents from your home country as well. Yeah, so if you're working on campus, so I think most of the on-campus roles are usually at the Oxford campus, but you could work at Oxford campus while studying downtown or at the South campus. There should be a lot of postings coming up in August. Both our athletics and our FSU area do hire a lot of students, and both of those areas will also be joining us throughout the next 9 days. If you wanted to move in early to residence, you would need to contact residents to find out, because it's all going to depend if rooms are ready that early, and sort of what that looks like. Does the address on my admissions letter? So on your admission letter with the program name, it should say what campus, like London campus, downtown, South, Simcoe. It should be listed there. So if you have any kind of an internship, an externship, a placement, any of that, you need to be also getting the co-op work permit to be doing that. So it should have been checked off, I think, on page 4 at the bottom of your LOA if you need the work, the co-op work permit. Okay. Yeah. So if you're the downtown campuses are like they're right across the street from each other. So if you're building A or building B type thing, you'll see that on your schedules, and you could have classes between both, but they're right across like a small paved street. So the ISF deadline is August 8th. So we do need to, August 12th. Oh my goodness. Sorry, my brain is having a hard time reading that. But you will need to make sure that if you don't have your documents by that date, then you need to get in touch with your agent or your in-country representative to be deferred to a different term. So once you complete the ISF and you receive your submission confirmation, you should still receive an email from our team. Now, as I said, that could take up to even 14 business days just because we are receiving a ton of forms. And it all depends as to what you're requesting too, because that kind of puts you into different categories as far as what you are receiving back. But you should receive something.
Hello.
Hi, Kevin.
Hello.
Did you have a question?
Will you contact us on the day before or for the shuttle bus?
No, so once
Few
you
days.
receive your email with your shuttle, you just plan accordingly. We won't contact you again about the shuttle. You'll have the email and then you just go from there.
You will contact us through the email or we should contact you again?
You don't need to
Is there
contact
any-
us again once you've received the email confirming that you have a shuttle. You just save that and you show that
okay.
to the Robert Q desk.
Yeah,
Okay.
how many days will it take to receive the email? If I submitted yesterday or day before yesterday, it will take a week or more.
So as I said, it could take up to 14 business days. Okay.
14. Okay. Okay, thank you. And regarding the courses, will you discuss it now or later? Regarding the courses.
Your courses.
Yeah.
So your courses are placed on your web advisor by the academic division, and that will happen starting as of July 31st, but it could even take up into a week or two into August.
Okay. It's a different
hello,
webinar
ma'am.
program.
I'm sorry, if you have questions, if you could please use the raise your hand feature. There's people waiting who have raised their hand. Okay. So I'm going to move on to those questions. Okay, Kevin, but I've answered the
Okay,
questions.
okay.
If you have more questions, anybody who has a ton of
Okay,
more
thank you.
questions,
Thank you.
or really specific questions,
Yes,
send an
hello,
email to
ma'am.
Fanshawe Cares.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Excuse me,
Can you listen
can
me?
you please use the raise your hand feature? There's just people waiting. I just want to make sure I'm going in order of the questions. Okay. Kunal, it looks like you have the first hand raised.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, ma'am. Actually, I have a question regarding the ISF form. The
Mhm.
question was that suppose I have filled the ISF form, and in that there was a one question like that: do you have your resident booked or your accommodation booked till now? Yes or no? I have selected no. So where would Robert will drop me in London
Yes.
City? I want to ask.
So Robert Q takes every student to the depot. And then if a student wants to add a home drop in there, then that's up to the student, but you have to arrange that with Robert Q. So it's okay if you don't have a drop address because we are not going to transport you directly there anyways. You get transported to the Robert Q desk.
Okay, what if ma'am, my accommodation is booked later? So at that time of arrival, I can talk with Robert. Is it okay?
Yes, absolutely. So if you go to the Robert Q desk once you arrive, you can add a home drop then. Yeah.
No issues, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. Okay. Zio, did you have a question? Zeal, did you have a question? Okay, yeah, Yogeshwaran, did you have a question?
Yes, ma'am, I have. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, ma'am. I'm gonna pursue advanced live digital media production.
Mhm.
And in the website, it has been stated that I do have an internship, but in the LOA, under that particular column, it has been stated N bar A. So, do I have an internship in the program or not, ma'am?
So here's the thing, is an internship can look different than a co-op. So if your LOA doesn't require a co-op work permit, then you don't need one.
All right, all right.
Now,
Thank
if
you
you
so
have
much, ma'am.
specific questions about that, you can get in touch with one of our student life coordinators. But if you
All
do
right.
not get the co-op work permit at the airport, and then it turns out that you do need it, they can actually help you apply for it afterwards, once you're already here.
All right, all right. Because in the LOA, it has been stated as N bar A, so I just got confused, you know?
Yeah, so you could follow up
Yeah.
with us. If you wanted to send us an email to fanshawecares@fanshawec.ca, and we could forward it to somebody on our SLC team for you.
Yes, I'll do that.
Okay,
I'll do
perfect.
that, yeah.
And I'm going
Thank
to
you
answer a
so
couple
much.
of the questions from the chat. So more care will cover pregnancy as long as it occurs after you arrived in Canada. If you arrive in Canada and you're already pregnant, then more care is not going to cover that because they consider that a pre-existing condition. So I just had seen that question there. I wanted to make sure I answered. But once again, more care will be here tomorrow to answer more questions. Yeah, so if you're coming with children, that's perfectly fine. Just keep in mind, you may have to start looking for childcare as soon as you possibly can, because we do find that that can sometimes be a bit difficult. And unfortunately, we can't bring children to class either, because that's just not covered under our liability and stuff. But yeah, if you're coming with your children and you're staying with friends for a bit, that's perfectly fine. It just means you might not be able to use the shuttle, but we should be able to potentially do the reimbursement for the transportation credit. No, if you have applied for the shuttle on your ISF, that's all you need to do. We will reach out with the next steps. So for affordable groceries and stuff. So we do have a lot of different options for different grocery stores here, and some are definitely going to be more affordable. So sort of places like Food Basics or No Frills, which kind of say it more in their title. Those places tend to be a bit more cheaper. And then the other thing you want to look for is there's some locations that actually offer student discounts on specific days. The Oxford Street campus is located at 1001 Fanshawe College Boulevard. Yeah, no, so you should just be receiving your class schedules the end of July, early August. So I think there's some questions here about banking and stuff. Yeah, reach out to the bank you are thinking of joining with to find out what exactly is included with their packages. But because a lot of student accounts will have no fees with them initially, but there could be other charges. It says on my Fanshawe online that I can pick up my fan card there. Yeah, so you can pick up your fan card at the Oxford campus up in the fan card office. So if you haven't received your visa yet, then you won't be able to complete your ISF because you have to upload your like your letter and stuff saying that you have the approved visa. So that has to be uploaded. So if you haven't received that, you cannot fill out the ISF.
Hello, ma'am.
All these questions.
Hello,
Hello.
ma'am. This is Abdullah from Pakistan. I have a question regarding my co-op work permit. So I need to ask that I have an optional co-op in my PGD, but so I need to get my work permit in anyway on airport, or will I be able to get it later on?
No, so if you are a student who's in a co-op and it's clicked off on your LOA, you need to get your co-op work permit at the airport the same time you get your study permit.
Okay, so what if it's mentioned that it's an optional one? Like some programs, they have co-op, they have co-op, and some programs have optional co-op. So mine has optional co-op. So still I need to get it upon my arrival on airport.
So they're only going to give it upon your arrival if it's ticked off on your LOA. If not,
Okay.
then once you decide to do a co-op, you'll likely have to apply for a co-op work permit at that
Okay.
point, which our student life coordinators can help with.
Ma'am, I have one more question to ask that I have already submitted my ISF form, and in return I have received submission confirmation email from Fanshawe. So is this email enough, or should I expect some other email too regarding my
No,
ISF?
there should be an email from the Fanshawe Cares team that says that it's been approved or disapproved and gives you next steps. If you applied on June 10th and you haven't received that, I would suggest you probably check your junk mail and stuff to see if maybe that's where it went, or reach out to Fanshawe Cares at fanshawec.ca with your full name and student number, and we can look into that specifically.
Yeah, so it's been several days, like 20 or 25 days since I have submitted my ISF, and I haven't received any email regarding my approval or
So
disapproval.
then you need to send us an email to Fanshawe Cares at fanshawec.ca. I cannot look that up
Yeah,
while I'm
sure.
on this live session, okay?
Sure. Got
So
it.
send us the
Got
email.
it. Thank you,
Okay,
ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So if you're traveling with family or with a partner, you will be responsible for booking your own transportation, whether you choose to use a Robert Q or book a private car service. We can send you those options, which we do after you submit your ISF, and then you would apply for a credit reimbursement afterwards. So we have gone over our hour. I'm just going to try to get to the other hands that are raised.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, I have received the REIT assessment. Does a REIT has a submission date? Because I'm currently on board and my contract will end on August 8th. How important is REIT assessment, ma'am?
Yeah, so if you can't do the RIT assessment, then you'll just get placed in a RIT course.
Okay, thank you.
So worst case, you just get placed in the RIT course, which is usually helpful anyway. So it's going to help you with essay writing and stuff. So
Because it's very difficult to access, our internet's very weak, so I cannot access it.
Yeah, so
That
then
is
worst
what
case,
very
you'll
worried.
just get added directly to a RIT class.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Ark Vyas.
Yes, madam. Good morning. Myself, Argyas. I am from Gujarat, India.
Hi there.
Madam, I have a question regarding snake rescuing group in London, or can I work as a snake rescuer in London?
As a snake rescuer?
Yes.
Do you mean
So
like
I need-
actually going out into the forest?
So I
and
need to
rescuing
bring any documents to show that I am a professional snake rescuer.
So I don't know that we really have a snake problem here in London, Ontario. So I don't know how you would do that kind of a job here. Like like I've never encountered a snake unless it was a pet. So I don't know that we have a lot of snake issues, but if it was something that you were looking
Or
into.
any group, any animal related group, is there any available?
So there's like groups that work with rescue animals and stuff like dogs and cats and sort of more domestic animals. Yeah. So the Humane Society would definitely love volunteers. So if you, that's something you would like, we can, if you send us an email to Fanshawe Cares at fanshawec.ca, I can send you out the link to the Humane Society.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. Dheeraj? Dheeraj, did you still have a question? Deepesh, did you have a question?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, ma'am.
Hi, good morning.
So I'm from Nepal, and I have a question regarding my transit.
Yes.
So I have a Montreal transit, and I have co-op in my course that is compulsory.
Okay. Yeah. So if you have a co-op, sorry.
Yes, ma'am. Do I get my study permit and co-op permit from Montreal Airport or Toronto Airport?
Oh, so are you landing in Montreal first?
Yes, ma'am. I'm landing in Montreal first. I have a 12-hour transit and then I will land in
So,
Toronto.
so because you're landing in Montreal, you should receive them there. So usually it's the first port of entry that you land in. So if you were landing in Vancouver or Montreal first, you'll likely receive your permits there. So thank you, everyone. I'm so sorry. I know there's still questions, but unfortunately we have gone past our time, and I know there's another group that needs to get on here after us. But thank you all for these great questions. It's so great when it's a group that has a ton of questions and is really engaged. And over the next 9 days, we are going to cover tons and tons of topics. So a lot of the questions will be answered as we go, hopefully. But tomorrow morning, I will upload a copy of today's presentation first thing. It's just not letting me access it while I'm on live Zoom for some reason. But thank you all for joining. I really appreciate it. I'm hoping to see you back tomorrow and the rest of the 9 days, and then to welcome you once you arrive. Take care, guys, and I'll hopefully see you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Mom. Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ma'am, where could we see you?
Thank
tomorrow?
you.
Bye, ma'am. Thank you.
Bye.